morning, everybody. Amie Pederson here, and I have a super special guest today on the Moms Making Money show. As many of you guys know, my goal of this show is to start spreading like self-confidence and self-love and just really getting everybody kind of on board with knowing that it's okay to take those first steps and start your business and to do it with confidence. I wanted to bring Nycki on today specifically because, first of all, she's a mom, and she's a mom of a cute little girl, and she offers an amazing service. And she just recently started her business, and she's already basically hit the ground running. She's already done such great things. I'm going to actually post her Instagram contact for you guys so that you can see it. So you have a way to like reach out to her right away, give her a follow, and all right, there we go. It's in the comments below. So as soon as you're ready to reach out and find Nycki, you can do it right on Instagram or even here on Facebook and just shoot her a private message. Today I wanted to I'm going to turn it over to Nycki, and I wanted to have her tell us a little bit about her background and how she got started, what made her decide to take her corporate career, which is quite interesting, and turn it into her Fempire marketing business. So Nycki, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Hi. So there's so much I think that goes into this story, but a lot of it has to do with obviously finding my passion and what I really wanted to do. And I'm going to go like way back to high school, which obviously wasn't that long ago, but you know, so I had to pick like an art credit, and I cannot draw to save my life. I'm just not like a drawing person. I'm definitely a tech person. So I ended up taking like a videography class, and that led to so many doors. I got a job working for NBC News. I worked for multiple, like Channel 99 is my local station for education. And I loved all of the media aspect of it, but I didn't love the content that I had to cover. I think that it became very political or a lot of weather. And I was actually in Montana, so I covered a lot of snow. And that was not my favorite thing, right? So I was like, well, okay, what else can I do with this like journalist writing love that I have? Mm-hmm. Then all those doors opened, and it kind of distracted me from what my true love was, which was law. So I had been in a lot of like classes and programs and speech and debate, and I loved public speaking, and all of that stuff was totally my jam also. So then I took that and I ran with it. But then this last year, I had to get ready to apply for law school. And I have a 2-year-old. I'm 4 months pregnant right now, so baby number 2 is on the way. And I was like, holy cow, you know, I'm sitting in the bank like everyone. I'm getting ready to apply for $100,000 for 3 years to go to law school. And that pressure is like crazy on someone who's my age. I can't believe that they let people make those decisions about being like completely sure. So even though I knew I loved it, I was like, okay, well, I want to do something with the things that I know that I love that could hopefully be taken. So like, I know I love media, I know I love public speaking, I know I love talking, I know I love business. You know, that's what I went to school for, was business law. I thought I wanted to do like corporate counseling or something. So I was like, okay, what can I do with public speaking and law and media and all these things? And I was like, marketing. Marketing is so much fun. I mean, I think I made the joke subconsciously, like, oh, I wish I could get paid to play on Instagram all day. Like, I really wish that someone would just pay me to do it. And that's literally how I feel like my business is. Like, I have fun playing on Instagram and building businesses, which is how Fempire started, which is female empire marketing. So I'm hoping that I can spread that. And what a better way to talk about it than on, like, isn't it International Women's Day today? Business.
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's so fun. I love it all.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Well, it's super funny. When I first met Nycki, we were talking, and she basically told me, and this actually drew me to her, because I'm a little bit older than Nycki, but she was basically like, look, I'm a total millennial. Like, she totally owned it. Like, and she was like, I don't go shopping at the store for something when I'm looking for a dress or a shirt or something that I want to purchase right away. She's like, I go to Pinterest. She's like, Pinterest is my search engine, and I find it there and then kind of backtrack to get to where I need to go to purchase the dress, right? And I was like, oh, duh. Like, who doesn't do that now? Like, who doesn't like go to Pinterest to find at least like a style guide or an idea of what they want before they go and get it? So it made like absolute perfect sense to me. And we were just talking about how basically you've had a phone in your hand since you were what, 6 years old, you said?
Yeah.
So she's like, who better qualified to, you know, run this type of marketing than someone who does it in pretty much naturally in their sleep. So so that was kind of a funny thing from a couple months ago when I first actually I can't talk today. I haven't had quite enough coffee yet. When I first met Nycki. So I kind of want to, obviously, since this season is all about like confidence and everything, I want to talk about like what kind of obstacles did you have when you first started? And what kind of fears and like self-doubt did you have about like taking this leap? Obviously, you were on that, you know, go to college, go to law school type of path to work in a law firm and show up at an office or court, you know, and work ungodly hours. Trust me, I was a law student for about a minute too. And I know the amount of commitment that requires. So I get, and I know the amount of commitment it requires financially. So I totally get, you know, having like a mini meltdown, like, oh my God, like this is so much money to borrow and then have to pay back.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of those obstacles, some of your self-doubt, some of the fears that you had, and how that kind of worked out for you.
Yeah. So I think that my biggest tipping point was I was actually working in a law firm, and I had my daughter, and 4, 5, 6 weeks went by, and they made it very apparent to me that if they were ready for me to come back. So I came back. I worked 55 hours with a 6-week-old baby my very first week back, and I was done. I was like, holy cow, is this going to be my life? And something personal about me is like, I am a baby person. You know, everyone always says, Nycki, if you won the lottery, what would you do with it? I was like, I would buy a big house and have 10 kids and send them all to college, and it would be awesome, right? Like, right. So I really wanted the babies. So, but I also was like, well, I really want my career. And obviously, I mean, my mom is such a big part in all of this because she sent me through so many classes, and she like gave me so many opportunities to do public speaking and work in some of these offices and all these things. So I was really worried about the comments that would come from her or some of her thoughts, or like I watched her work very hard as a young kid. Like she was a single mom for a while. She put herself through college later on and all these things. And so that's like what I grew up seeing. And I was like going to college, making money, being successful. So I see that. Some people say like, I went to college and I made $40,000 a year and I'm not happy. But like I seen my mom who did it the right way, you know, and is super successful. So I was like really scared to have this conversation with her. And then obviously, like you said, I'm like, I'm young. What do I know about business? Like, you know, I barely have a degree in business. Like, who's going to trust me? So then I thought about it in the marketing aspect, and I was like, I'm a millennial. Like, no one uses hashtags more than me. No one shops online more than me. I naturally know the funnels of what goes on internet business because I actually use them. You know, if I went to someone's website to go shopping and they didn't have a secure site, or they, you know, had like some kind of weird setup, or I didn't like their pictures, I wouldn't buy from them, you know? So like I naturally know these things just from how I grew up with a phone in my hand since I was literally in kindergarten. So I literally took all of those like combination of things, and I just told myself like, this is how I'm gonna have to get over it. Like, so I think that there was a lot of self-doubt in the fact that it was myself. I mean, my mom is so supportive. She asks me every day. We talk about it. Like, it was just totally internally my self-doubt, I think, which is crazy. It's so crazy that we can get in our own minds like that.
Right, right. And I think that is so huge because we like, and I've done it myself, like, so I'm totally guilty of this. And I think, you know, being an overthinker and a perfectionist, you know, I like to say I'm a recovering perfectionist, but I'm still an overthinker. You know, we think about like, well, especially a lot of women are starting their business while they're still in their day job, you know, and like kind of like a side hustle, if you will. And then once they can build it up enough, then they'll eventually transition is their goal. But I think that, you know, like me, they're worried like, oh my God, what if my boss sees this? Like, is he going to be upset? Am I going to lose my job? Or, you know, like, and at the end of the day, it's kind of like, why would your boss actually care what you did in your free time? You know, like, what you did on your nights and weekends or days off or whatever. But that was like a legitimate thought for me. Like, what if my boss saw this? Like, what if he thought that this was like, you know, what if I got in trouble or whatever? And that was so like, he didn't care. He was like, awesome. Like, if you can do something, you know, he's got an entrepreneur, or my former boss, I guess, he had an entrepreneurial, not enough coffee today.
I know, I knew
about him, you know, having started many businesses and been involved with the startup of many businesses. He thought it was great. Like, I actually went and saw him and some of my favorite coworkers a couple weeks ago, and we talked about it, and we talked about how great everything was going. And, you know, so all that fear, like you said, like with your mom, like you almost felt like you were going to let her down, like this, you know, you felt like the path that you were initially starting on, you know, the go to college, get the day job, work 80 hours a week, you know, it's almost like we feel like we're going to let people down, or we're going to get negative backlash. And a lot of the times we really don't. So it's just like a story that we make up.
Yeah. Almost like I think a lot of people are worried about, like, something is like, what about your 401k? How are you going to pay taxes? What about all these things? And you're like, I don't know. I have to figure out how to run a business, and you want me to plan for retirement, which at my age, I'm like, that seems like forever away. I don't want to think about it. But to my mom, she's like, it comes up so quick. Like, you have to plan right now. But really, you figure it out. Like, you work hard and you figure it out. And I think that it's all about just overcoming, like, those little obstacles as they come.
Well, the good thing is we can still plan for retirement and get medical and all those neat things. Like, I have a guy who I wanted to get through a good chunk of like the confidence stuff first. I haven't even announced it, but early in the summer, I'm going to have my investment guy come on and talk about what us women should do, or even men, you know, the advice could be for men for this particular topic, but what entrepreneurs should do when they have their own business, but they do want to save, they do want to invest, and how that's different from, you know, having a 9-to-5 type of job. Because obviously, like, if you're an LLC, you can run it a little differently than if you're just investing into an IRA. And that's about the extent of my knowledge on it. So we'll save that for that interview. But
I know. I remember our first conversation, and I was like, Amie, what am I going to do about taxes?
Yeah, we totally talked about taxes.
Yeah.
There's a way. I mean, there's a way to strategically plan and strategically save. And obviously, like, I don't give tax advice, but I know enough that, like, okay, I know that my tax guy said that this is approximately how much money I should set aside, you know, whether it's 10% or 30% or whatever, you know, all of it's relevant based on your income. And sometimes you may even have to do a check-in like every quarter, like, okay, so this quarter went way better than last quarter, or maybe, you know, whatever, and you can make those adjustments. Obviously, you want a good CPA, I'm happy to recommend mine. But
and I think it all just comes with the confidence, like coming up with these little excuses that get in our way. Like, I could easily be like, I'm in my 20s. I don't know anything about taxes. Like, I'm not going to start a business. How about I go to school and learn about taxes first? Or you can come up with all these later things, and it's just about completely letting it go. Like, let it go. There's plenty of people out there who are willing to help you.
Right. One of my coaches, she always says, take massive imperfect action, because, you know, basically, and that's hard for me because, like, you know, being a perfectionist, I wanted everything to be totally perfect before it ever went out. But the story is if I waited and waited and waited for that perfect launch or that perfect moment or whatever, I'd never have done anything. So even like when I started this show, it's just like, I'm just going to do it. And it's worked out. You know, we had a hiccup last week with technology, but it still worked out. Like, everything was still totally fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I think that's great that, you know, that you had all these things that you kind of thought up, and a lot of them didn't ever pan out to even being like actual facts. They were just, you know, scary things that we had like in the back of our minds. And a lot of that too, I feel like, comes from society, because society wants us to go to college. Society has trained us to think that in order to be successful, we have to be lawyers or doctors or whatever. And we have to go through these certain steps. We have to take out student loans, or we have to have really wealthy parents to cover the cost of, you know, $100,000 educations. Mm-hmm. And so there's kind of that, like, that, I don't want to call it like a stigma, but you know what I mean? Like, where society has set certain expectations. So when when we get this, free spirit of being an entrepreneur and we want to follow that path because it feels in alignment with our goals and our dreams and what we want to do with our lives, you get that kind of like, oh, is this the right decision? Like, that's not what everybody else is doing. That's not what I've been taught to do. That's not the way, if you will. So I totally get that. Let me see how we're doing on time. We're doing pretty good on time. I want to take some time, Nycki, and tell us a little bit about Fempire Marketing. Tell us about your business. You guys, if you're on live, feel free to say hi, ask your questions, post some comments. And if you're catching the replay, just post replay. I forgot to tell you guys that at the beginning. But I'm going to turn it over to you, Nycki, because I know you have an amazing freebie for us, which is in the comments above. And maybe go over that a little bit, as well as basically what your business is and what you offer.
Yeah, so Fempire started off as Nick Imaging, and basically I just did social media marketing. And I think the most important thing that I wish I could just like get through to everyone is that social media marketing is about being social. Social. Like, so if you go on Instagram and people come to me and they say like, I need 30,000 followers, can you get me 30,000 followers? And I can say, yes, of course I can. I could go like 3 million pictures and you would probably get some followers from that. But what good does it do you to have 300 likes on one of your photos if it's only because the only thing you did was hashtag like for like? None of those people are interested in buying your products. It's not going to help your business grow. Yeah, it's going to help the algorithm, but at the same time, like, so you're going to bring it up to people and hope that someone who sees it buys it. So if you take that same idea and you actually spend like time and you only hashtag the things that are most important to you, and you reach out to those 20 people that liked you because you didn't add all these extra hashtags and things, and you say, hey, I'm really glad that, you found my site. What did you like about it? You reach out to them. You don't have to spam them. You don't have to sell them anything. You don't have to ask them anything. Don't send them to your Facebook page. Have a conversation. Be nice. Go like their pictures of their cats. People want you to interact with them. And they will see if your Instagram is set up correctly, if you have your website in your bio, if your picture is perfect, if you've got great branding, they will check you out and they will know if they're your real client. And I believe that it all comes down from like my freebie and talking about branding and talking about what your bio should be. I mean, I have a big like stigma around the fact that if you are a life coach and you're in like a black hoodie and a dark couch and your hair's on top of your head and you want to give me life advice, like I'm a little bit afraid. I would be like, oh, I don't know about this. Just like if you were a boutique owner and you had like some cropped photo that was like blurry of a picture of like a dress that I wanted to order, I would never buy that because I am instantly doubting you in like 3 seconds. I opened your picture and I doubted you in 3 seconds. There's nothing you can do about it. It's gone. So my freebie really ties into that. And I help women go through all those steps. What is your branding? What is your message? Are you picking this because you really love law? Are you picking this because you really love this? Or are you in love with something else and wanting to take that? So I think that I create business clarity and find like the best part. So even though my business is based around Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and finding these things and finding your vibe and your group, I think that it also creates like a lot of actual business help. So I help people with their launches. I do podcasts. I do video editing. There's a lot of things that come from, like I can do Facebook ads. We can run all those things. If you're a product, if you own clothing, then I think Facebook ads could be appropriate for you because you just want, it's obvious. Like if I'm a boutique owner and I want college girls that are in their early 20s to order, that's easy to Facebook ad. But for the most part, if you're in a different type of industry, you need to be social.
Right. That's exactly right. One thing that Nycki and I actually were talking about is Nycki's going to help me take the Moms Making Money show and get it to the state of being a podcast, because that's out of my realm of like, I can't even think about it. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, yeah, I can convert this into an audio, but Nycki has she has a media background. So for her, it's like boom, easy. Like, and that was the first thing she told me when we were talking about it just recently is like, oh yeah, so easy. Like I can totally do that like in no time. I'm like, huh, perfect. So that's what's kind of neat about finding somebody, like when you're finding somebody to help you grow your business, is finding somebody who really does know it and is like, oh yeah, that's so easy. And you were so confident when you told me like, yes, I can totally do that. And it's so easy, which I was like, oh, thank God. Instead of like, yeah, I could probably spend a little bit of time and I could YouTube it and I could Google it and I could figure it out. I know I could figure it out. Like that's two different messages. So that's kind of like one of the things that I teach my clients is finding what you know you're good at, because then it just comes like so quickly right off the cuff. Like, yeah, I can totally help you with that. It's so easy. Like I totally know how to do that. I've done 50 million of them, whatever, instead of like, you know, I'm not really sure about that. Or, you know, and even if you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know, but it's hard to sell something that you're like, I might be able to help you with your podcasts, you know, like. Yeah.
Some of your, I think it's funny because some of your clients are obviously like nutritionists and like the health and wellness. If I was like, hey, can you help me lose 10 pounds? And someone was like, well, what does your diet look like? I would be like, you didn't want to just say yes? Just say yes. Well, how much exercise are you doing? Like, those are great questions and it's helpful. And like, yeah, let me go find a meal plan for you versus like just saying, yes, let's get going. Is so much more of like an internal confidence. But like, oh, maybe, I think so.
Let me look into that. Yeah. And one thing like that I totally try to teach my clients, whether they're in fitness or they're in essential oils or whatever, is they have to use the products. Like for you use, you know what I mean? Like you can't sell me something, or I can't sell you something that I'm like, I don't actually use it, but I've heard it's really good. Like,
yeah.
Or, you know, people want to hear like about you, like they want to know like, all right, Nycki, how did you learn how to do Instagram? Like what kind of success have you had with your own Instagram? Just like even like if you compare it to weight loss, they want to know how you lost 20 pounds, how you maintain your ideal weight, not like, oh, well, you know,
I've always been skinny. I just have a good metabolism. I'm like, oh, dang it.
I don't actually work out and I don't actually healthy. People don't want to hear about that because that's what, you know, we all wish we could do that, but nobody actually does, of course. But yeah, that's just it, is, you know, part of that social proof is showing what you can do for yourself and what you have done for yourself, even if you're still on your journey, knowing that you've actually made like those first initial steps is huge to so many people. Like, so even like for you, like knowing that, you know, Instagram or Twitter or Pinterest or, you know, having a media background and creating podcasts and editing videos, that's like second nature to you now.
Yeah, I'm very aware of what I'm attracted to. And then if you take the actual marketing side of it, I'm like, wow, I really love this ad or this picture or this whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I love about it? And then you like work it backwards and you say, okay, well, this is why I would buy this dress. You have a secured site to check out. Oh yeah, I really like this. Or your website looks great. Or even, I think that people get too caught up on some of like being perfect, you know? So your website doesn't have to be like immaculate, $10,000, which is also part of Fempire's like backstory, is that I started my business with no money. I started with a free Wix website. I didn't buy anything. I literally just started posting and networking and talking to people, and it grew so much faster. I didn't spend anything. I've never bought a Facebook ad, actually. Like I've never done any Instagram boosts. Like I just grew organically, and I really think that people try to do too much too fast and make it like this perfect algorithm. Like everyone's like algorithm, I feel like is more of like a hot word than anything. Like everyone wants it to be a trend, but It's not. Just be personable, just say what you do, you know, be friendly, and it will all just naturally come. And I think that we should talk about the relationship between social and your MLMs, because I know that you love that. And it really is about being social. Like no one is mad at you. For like, I think there's such like a weird vibe that goes on with people who do M&Ms or MLMs. They want, like people get super worried about you messaging them or adding them or all these things, but there's a way to do it. If you added me, I'm obviously going to check out your profile. If you had a hair story, let's say you're doing like the hair growth post. If your hair had grown 6 inches in whatever amount of time, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. If that was all your social media was, if your life was about the shakes that you promote or about the wraps that you love or all of these things, I would be way more inclined to want to buy them Then we had this conversation, when I first have my baby and you cold message me and say like, hey, do you have stretch marks for having a baby? I'm like, girlfriend, how social is that? Would you ever do that in person? Could you imagine someone walking up? Could you ever be in a store and see a newborn baby and your first reaction to someone is like, hey, do you have stretch marks? Like,
or hey, you want to that baby?
You didn't want to say anything? Like, oh, that makes me so sad. Guys, don't do that. Stop it. Oh my gosh, it makes me so sad. So make social media social. If you are friendly about it and the product really is that great, it will sell itself. Like, you don't have to do these cold messaging, for sure.
Exactly. And people will reach out to you. Like, one of my girlfriends, and she's part of my community, she is an It Works girl, but she only promotes the products that she uses, like, on a daily basis, and kind of like shares her journey, but it's not like so like in your face, like, because I enjoy following that. Whereas, like, people are like, oh, I'm so worried I'm going to get unfriended. That's because you do unfriendly things, like, hey, you want to lose that baby weight? Like, that, like, hurts people's feelings, like.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a friend who, I'm not sure what company she's a part of, but she is selling like some organic cleaning products, and she has a 1-year-old son, and she was talking about them on her Facebook, and I instantly was like, hey, I want to know about this. What is it? Tell me some testimonies. Like, she didn't have to message me, like all of these things. If it's good and the product works and you really love them and are supporting them, no one, like, I'm more than happy to support you. Like, I want you to stay home with your kids. Like, us moms who are making money with our side hustles, I want to support you. I don't want to go buy, like, whatever regular Walmart branded cleaning supplies if I know you have an amazing organic one.
Right, and who wants to deal with traffic at some place like Walmart anyways, and like going to Target?
Order on Amazon. It gets shipped to the house. Perfect.
Well, that's part of being in this like digital space, is like, we get all of our social interaction for the most part via social media. It's pretty, you have to like make effort to like go physically hang out with your girlfriends now, because you feel like by being on social media, you feel like you're keeping in touch with people because you see what's going on in their lives every day. You see their kids growing up. You see that they just went to the zoo or they just went to Disneyland, or so you feel like, oh, Nycki just told me a story about what she did every day for the last month, so I'll call her later, or you know what I mean? And so a lot of that one-on-one connection is lost. But I feel like when you have whether it's network marketing or you have like a virtual like business, like I do a lot of my coaching on Zoom or on the phone or whatever. When's the last time you picked up the phone and like called somebody? You know what I mean? Like, or they actually answered when you did call them, type of thing.
Yeah, you text someone first and say, hey, when can you have a conversation with me?
Right. But I feel like being in this online space, whether it's business or whatever, I do feel like that, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, it helps you. I don't know, for me, I feel like it helps me still like have my grown-up interaction, to be on the phone, to be on these Zooms, to be on the trainings, and keep that, I call it, I had the chance to talk to another grown-up today, like just change it up a little bit. And one thing I'll be talking about in my free challenge next week is, about how like you can confidently do all these things. Like, you don't have to worry about like, because obviously we all know we're moms. We all know that the whole mom shaming thing it's a real thing. It's total bullshit, but it's a real thing. Like, like if I do this, what are these other, moms gonna think? But for some of us, like, for some people, not providing an income or contributing financially is not an option. 2, some of us just want to do more than fold laundry and clean boogers all day. Like, yeah, like I spent this, 30 minutes with you, and I can kind of juggle everything else, like I have my clients set up strategically, and most of them know, like, there might be a chance that you hear a little squawk or whatever, if my kid happens to fall down, because he's here with me. Yeah. And my ideal client,
talk between noon and 3 at nap time.
Yeah. And every once in a while they'll wake up early or whatever, but like, people don't actually care, like, for the most part. And if they do, like for me, obviously they're not my ideal client, because
Absolutely.
Work with moms or, you know.
We're here to roll with the punches, especially as business owners. We have so many obstacles. Like, I want my clients to be flexible, and especially because both of us have clients who run businesses. So, I mean, I'm like, if you can't like wait for 2 minutes while we're both figuring out our babies and jump right back into the mom boss hustle, like that's just how it is. Like, you got to get used to it.
Yeah, even my own coach, she's not a mom yet, but like the other day, Maddie was having a total, I guess it was the other week ago now or whatever, total screaming meltdown. And she was so sweet. She's like, hi, Maddie. Like, hi, Maddie. Like, trying to like cheer him up and whatever. Like, that's who I want to work with, is somebody who gets me, someone who gets it and who's not like, eh. But obviously you can't do that at your 9-to-5 job or your, you know, your 8-to-5 or 7-to-5 or whatever people work these days, you know?
Yeah. I was applauding your live last night, and you have a little bit of a speaker going on, and I was like, look at her just keep talking and walking. She's like, I know. I was like, she's going to stand up and walk around. You're like walking in circles, doing like the mom walk. I was like, I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, oh, now is the perfect time. Everybody's happy. I'm going to do a video, right? And then as soon as I hit live, I've got squawking baby who wants to introduce himself. Corey's trying to call me 50 million times to tell me there's traffic and I wasn't even going anywhere. Like, I was just like, oh my goodness. It was like, just go with it. And it ended up being just fine.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I think that a little bit of something that I was also afraid of is that I'm having a newborn. And so my mom clients, you know, like in 6 months, they were like, well, how are you going to manage my business with a newborn? Like, I definitely saw that pushback, and I was like, had to like explain to everyone like my business funnel and my plan and like really break it down and be like, look, I have a plan. It's going to be okay. Like, no one's business is going to stop for 6 weeks while I'm on maternity leave. You know, like I'm not I am taking a break, and that's obviously part of why I run my business is to take it. But I have like a system, and I'm implementing a bunch of different like virtual assistants and things to be able to take over what I'm doing before. So
right.
It's definitely something.
When you know how to plan content, and you know how, I mean, that's ultimately, you know, what you do is you plan out the content and it's ready to go. So that people like me, we don't have to think about that one extra thing about posting on Instagram, posting and scheduling and whatever on Instagram. You've got that covered. So it's what you do. Like, I mean, plus you'll be up at 2:00 in the morning anyways. You'll need something to do.
Yeah, right. I'm going to be like over here with my foot, pushing the little rocker, typing, doing my content. Like, I already got it down. If it was baby number 1, I think I would be worried about it. But baby number 2, I mean, unless it's completely different, knock on wood, that it's not. But I was like, the first one was fine. I'm young. I'm up late anyways. Like, 2 a.m. is not a big deal.
Right. You're resilient. We always bounce back.
Yeah.
You'll be tired. Just drink more coffee. That's what I do.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it was. I was finishing like my business law bachelor's with my newborn, you know, and I was like, it couldn't be that much different. And they make you do things that you don't even love. You know, I'm over here I remember taking like an astrology class, and I was like measuring circumferences of the sun and weird things. And I was like, why am I doing this? If I got to be playing, I mean, it really goes back to me to playing on Instagram. If I got to see what a new sales funnel was, if I got to see another idea. For one of my clients, we just did a spinoff of Orange is the New Black, and she's like a doula, and we're doing Bump is the New Black, you know, and things like that, just like tying in all those fun things. You know, I was like, being up late at nights when I'm creative anyways, and I think it helps that I'm definitely a night owl to begin with.
Well, yeah, and I mean, even if your client wants you to schedule an 8 a.m. post, you can schedule that, so it works out just fine. So I think you'll do just great. And I'm excited to see you conquer that fear and be like, yeah, I totally crushed this. Like, I called it being like a zombie, like, you know, like,
yeah,
like zombie mode for a while, but
yeah,
we're all still alive and we're all still doing just fine.
I'm running on 4 hours of sleep. I don't even know what day it is. Did I post today?
Hey.
Luckily it's scheduled out. I don't know.
My kid still, like Maddie, he still doesn't sleep all night. So it's just different. You'll survive. You're going to do just great. I just know it. It's about time to wrap up, but I wanted you to talk about a little bit what's in your freebie so that everybody makes sure that they grab a copy.
Yeah, so it is the most important 7 steps to me that you should have, and a little bit of a checklist. So this, I was talking to you about how I would have loved to write like 10 pages on each one of these steps, but I guess that's what our call is for, right? So you basically, in this 7-step process, I make you go through your beginning. I talk about that profile picture. I talk about what you're offering. I talk about your website. And even if you don't have a website, like you should have a Facebook page or even just a landing page for someone to see general ideas for them to go somewhere. Or you need to make it in your bio, like very obvious what you're offering and a way to get a hold of you, even if it's just your email address. I talk about how to pick your audience, which kind of goes back in my story. Like, are you working with moms? Are you not working with moms? Like, really finding your niche will create the easiest marketing branding strategy. And then a color scheme. I love when I go onto an Instagram and I see those checkerboard patterns, or I see that you put it together in more than like just 3 seconds when it's representing your business. If it's your personal page or a mom page or something, like it can of course just be totally flowy and you don't have to have a checkered theme. But if you had like all purple font or all like something that I can like associate with you when I see it, I'm going to be quicker to like that picture because I know it's you and I know I like your content versus, you know, if you just have all these random quotes all the time that are in every color.
Right.
And then so I kind of go into those 2 steps, the layout. And then I talk about separation between the ask and the give, which is kind of like the interrupting people's scroll type of thing. You know, you go on social media to be social. If the only thing on your Facebook is 50% off, click on my website, add this Facebook page, do this, do that, then you're not giving me anything and you're just making me work as a client or a fan, or even just someone who I completely don't know you, but the only way I can get information from you is if I go to your blog post and stop and get off Instagram, which isn't what I got on Instagram for. I probably got on Instagram because I have 2 minutes before I have to get in the shower to hang out on my phone, or I just woke up for 15 minutes or the babies are on a nap, or all these things. So you want to pick content that is second level, you know, like I think it's great to do all these types of quotes and popular things, but let's say you wanted to say something along the lines of like thank you is like a general thing, and then you have to give like what that means. You can't just post a general quote. You want to give a second level, like deeper content to it. So I talk about the best way to do that on Instagram, being social. I gave some of the most popular hashtags that aren't things like for like, follow for follow, Insta like, Insta good, like, you know, those are all great, but you're not going to find your target audience if you're only doing that. And then the last page is, so I offer a free 45-minute call to talk about like your goals, specifically what you would like. I make sure that we're both in the same space because I know what my ideal client is, that even if I can't help you, I obviously have resources and other things to send you to. And then it has my website, which is currently under construction. I'm in the middle of rebranding and building it and adding a bunch of freebie features and some webinars and a bunch of other stuff. So I need a little bit more time on that, but I have my Facebook page, my Instagram, and then I have my email and my cell phone number for people to contact me on if they want to reach out.
Perfect. Well, I definitely think it's worth everybody's time to at least grab a copy of this freebie, start trying to implement it, and reach out to Nycki, get your free call, and see if you guys are a good fit for one another. I know that I personally can vouch for Nycki, and I love the work that she does. Like I said, she's going to be helping take this Moms Making Money show over into the podcast land, and I'm so super excited about that. We don't have a timeline for that yet. We just started kind of talking about that, especially since the show is so new. But keep an eye out for that and know that Nycki is behind that. And yes, the link is above where you can get that that free guide. And in the comments below, I pinned it as her Instagram handle. And then of course she's tagged. You can follow her on Facebook and really start to get to know her. I think that you'll really find a really valuable resource here. And the best part is one thing that I think a lot of new entrepreneurs are afraid of is, how much is this going to cost? She's so super affordable. She's got a package pretty much at every price point, so you don't have to worry about that. If you choose to move forward with her, she can take care of you and at least get you started out. So that's all we have for the show today, you guys. I hope that you found a lot of value in knowing that, you know, Nycki overcame her fears. She's started a successful business, and, you know, she does it on her time and really is getting great feedback from her clients. So we'll see you guys next Thursday. We've got another special treat for you guys on, I believe it's Facebook marketing next week. So again, make sure you take advantage of Nycki's freebie. It's there to grab, and reach out to her for your social marketing and like media type of needs. If you're thinking about starting a podcast or anything else, or getting your website up and going, she's your gal.
Yep. Thanks, Sarah.
Later.
Bye.